Welcome to a review of the RoboBrew 35-litre all-in-one single vessel brewery. Now this is available from kegking.com.au and promises to do what a lot of the other homebrew machines out there are doing, and that's to ease that brewing process for you. Now we've got a little kit on the go today. We've just set our temperatures for the mash, and as you can see, the bottom here, the control panel, is really quite straightforward, and this is one of the key features of the RoboBrew, is its ease of use. So talk you through the brief features before we actually go into the mash process. So as you can see down here, we've got the on-off button. That's obviously quite important. Then you've got the set button here, which is to set the amount of time you want the temperature to be maintained at. And you've got the simple up and down controls there to hit those temperatures. So we've got it set at our mash temperature at the moment at 66 degrees C. Now you'll notice there's two buttons on the side here. Those are the heating element buttons. We've got a 1900 watt and a 500 watt heating element button. And on the side, around the side, we've got the pump button as well, so that we can recirculate the wort back round there during the mash process. And of course we've got the standard tap here as well with the safety catch, so you can't inadvertently turn it on, which is always a good thing. And then if we come up on the side, you can see that we've also got the pump area itself here. We've got the pump isolation valve, so that needs to be set to the vertical position for the pump to operate during recirculation. But we haven't even got that far yet. We've just got up to temperature. So our next step is going to be to put our grain in. So we're going to rejoin you at that stage when we're just pouring it into the mash tun itself. Right, okay, welcome back. So we're at a stage now where we're ready to put the grain in. So as you can see inside, we've got the pipe down the middle there, which comes with a little plastic stopper as well, because you don't want the grain to go back through the bottom where the heating elements are. So to do that, we pour the grain inside. You can see that there's a sort of bottom mesh there, which is going to help to keep the grain in. And there's also one which goes over the top as well and just sits on top of the grain bed. And then you've got this, the recirculation pipe is obviously going to be moved into position to get that water circulating back through the grain bed and right the way through. So let's have a look. We're doing a Crafty Brews kit today. This is from brewuk.co.uk. And it is an old master recipe pack. That's the name of this particular one. So we're looking at having 3 kilograms of Maris Otter malt, and then we've got some more Maris Otter mixed in with chocolate malt and Caro wheat as well. It certainly smells good. So here we go. We'll pour this in, trying to make sure that we do it sort of relatively slowly and evenly. We want to avoid getting those pockets of unmixed grain. So we'll probably do the first bag, give it a little stir. And then we'll add the second one as well. Now we used the Grainfather calculator actually to work out approximately how much water to add. It's a very similar setup in that respect, so that was quite useful. Right, okay, a lot of dust kicking up there. It's all good. There we are. So this is a mash process for this particular kit is going to be about 90 minutes. Of mash time, and then there's a further 90 minutes of boil time on top of that, so it's going to be a good couple of hours for this particular brew. Right, we'll give that a stir and we'll rejoin it with the second batch of grains added. Right, welcome back. So we've stirred the grain bed there to make sure there's no dough balls in there, so we've mixed it up nicely. And now what we've done is we've added the top screen. Now this has a silicone seal around the outer edge there, and it's important to make sure that is not rucking up, it's got a good contact with the side of the mash tun. And then you've got the siphon cone as well. The siphon cone is the bit where all your wort is going to recirculate and pour down the centre to then be pumped up and out the top again to start the whole circulation process going. So that's important that you have the cone side facing up. And you put that on top of the overflow pipe and then you just push it down gently so that whole assembly is just sitting gently on top of the grain bed. So we're at that stage now where we're ready to begin the recirculation process. So to do that, and you notice you've got the valve on the side here. To start with, you should make sure that is in the horizontal position before you turn the pump on. But essentially, once you're ready to go, you can twist that to vertical. This particular section really only needs to be a little more than finger tight. There is a silicone seal inside that, and if you tighten it too much, it will perish. You can also get some silicone hosing to go on here if you want to be able to kind of move the pipe around a little bit during the recirculation process. We haven't got that, but the dimensions for that are available on the website at Keg King. Okay, so essentially that is it. You're all set up, ready to go. You've finger tightened it. You can now turn your you can turn the valve to the on position. That's the vertical position. We're just going to turn it down a little bit because I know it's a little bit vigorous to start with, and we don't want it splashing everywhere. But then you're ready to go. You can hit the pump switch at the bottom, and the process of recirculation has begun. Now for us, for our recipe, this is going to go for about 90 minutes, so quite a while. We'll probably rejoin you when we're at the sparge stage. So yeah, we'll see you then. Right, okay, so you join us now at the, as you can probably hear, at the sparging stage, and we've heated up some water to around 77 degrees, and we're pouring it through the mash tun now to extract all those lovely sugars that we've been spending the last hour and a half collecting. So here we go. Let's have a look at what we're doing. So we've actually got this balanced on top of a grill type thing. What do you call those things? I can't think of the name. Anyway, rather than having it balanced on the feet, because as we mentioned, unfortunately, in our particular one of these feet was actually missing, so we didn't dare try and use it as normal, or it might have toppled over. But I'm sure that that's a one-off. The rest of the product is in very good condition. I was with this though. I mean, what you normally do, and again, this is quite similar to a lot of homebrew machines. You pull up the mash tun and then you rotate it slightly, and those 4 feet will locate on some kind of brackets on the inside here, and it actually sit nicely and comfortably within the mash tun. So as I say, this is not normal. This is what you don't get this with the kit or anything. It's just what we've done here to make sure that we can do the sparging safely and securely. So that's going to take a little while. It's been so easy so far, it really has. In terms of setting the times and temperatures from the control panel, that's been an absolute doddle. So so far we're really enjoying this process. The next stage for us is going to be, once we've got all our sparge, we're going to collect about 23 litres of wort, and then we're going to heat that to boiling and add our first hops. So we'll probably rejoin you at that stage when we're adding the hops in. Okay, so we're now at the stage where we've reached boiling, and we did have a little scary moment there. We thought it was going to boil over, but we did some vigorous stirring and briefly turned off the elements, and that brought the head right down. Luckily, you can see how close it got to the top just by looking at the mark there. So, but that's okay. That's all experience. Now, what we're going to do now is we've got our first set of hops to go in. So these go in right at the start of the boil, and then we put the balance of the hops in at the end of the 90 minutes for this particular recipe. So we put them inside the little cloth sack there, as you can see. What are your thoughts on that? I've done that a couple of times now, but I just wondered if you thought it was better that way, or for flavour, or if it's better to have them in loose. But anyway, ours are going in the sack, so there we go. Let's poke those down, and there we are. So the process has now begun for the 90 minutes of boil time, and we'll pick it up again when we're at the end of the boil, ready to add our last batch of hops. Right, welcome back. So we're now at the end of the boil stage now. We've added the remainder of the hops, and we've also put in the Wort Chiller, as you can see here. So this is a crucial bit where we don't really want to get contamination if possible. That would be a real pain. But the Wort Chiller, which is fantastically easy to use, we've just got connected up to some hose pipe coming from the garden tap, and then that's exiting through into the sink. And as you can see on the temperature, that has already reduced it down in the space of literally about 2 or 3 minutes, down to 73 degrees C. So that is rapid cooling if ever we saw it. In the meantime, we've got our fermentation buckets sterilised and ready to go as well. So hopefully we can pick it up again when we're at the stage we're dispensing into the fermentation. Okay, so we're at the stage now where we're ready to pour the wort. It's been cooled down to just below 20 into our sterilised fermentation bucket. So here we go. We're going to take the lid off, and we're going to open up the tap, and it's going to go straight into the bucket, hopefully. Let's give it a go. Lift up the safety catch, and then we're going to pour it. And you can see it's going in there. Now at this temperature, we can pretty much pitch our use straight away, so we're almost ready to wrap this up. But we'll give our final thoughts at the end of this process about how we found using the RoboBrew. To be honest, it's been an absolute doddle, and we've really enjoyed it. It's been very effortless compared to how some of these machines can be. So we'll pitch the yeast, and we'll follow up with a summary findings for the RoboBrew. Right, welcome to a summary review of the RoboBrew homebrew machine. So yesterday's brew day was fun and quick, actually, and that's saying something for an all-grain brew day, as I'm sure many of you know. Time is of the essence. Now, positives, I'm going to break this down. So the good things about this unit, well, there were lots of strengths here. Our first one really is just how easy it was to use. Its simplicity of operation was a real strength. The menu was very intuitive. Very easy to navigate around. Didn't take us long at all to get the hang of, which was great. And the switches, can't go far wrong. You've got your 2 element switches there and a pump on or off switch too. So as you know, with some of these homebrew machines, it can overcomplicate things and actually make the brew day even more complicated and time consuming than it need be. RoboBrew, however, takes the complication out of things. It really did break it down and make it a lot more easy to follow. So that was a real strength, we thought. Other things, just the quality of the build is something worth mentioning. The tap itself is very nice and industrial looking, and you've got the locking mechanism there so you can't accidentally knock it on or off, which is always a bonus. The pump seemed really good as well. That's built into the base. That was seamlessly operating throughout the process, and it didn't stutter at all, didn't get blocked, so that was really quite good. The fact you can also adjust the flow rate of the pump with the blue valve at the top there was also a useful feature. Other things, well, the price as well. We haven't mentioned that, but if you look at the website, it's a very competitive price for something that is such good quality, really. So it's well worth checking them out. That's at kegking.com.au for their full product range. The final thing for us that was a real strength was just the ease of cleanup afterwards. As you know, that's a big factor, isn't it, in any homebrew? The mess at the end, it takes ages. Well, this actually takes a lot of the time out of that because it is such a straightforward piece of kit. It's really easy to clean, relatively lightweight compared with some homebrew machines, so that makes lifting it up and swilling out the water a lot simpler and less backbreaking. So overall, we're really impressed with this unit. I think you will be too if you try it out. In terms of things to improve, there weren't many, just a few things we'd suggest, certainly. Switches, there's no covers on them at all, so if you do splash water on, there is that sort of thing about electricity and water mixing. So I believe they may be working on some kind of switch covers. We'll try and clarify that for you as well. There is another improvement as well that's coming out for the menu, and that is they're going to set a delay timer on there, so you'll be able to set your brew to start early in the morning whilst you're in bed still. You get up, come downstairs, and hopefully the temperature of the water is up to mash temperature. So that's going to be a time-saving feature. And let's face it, when you're all-grain brewing, anything to shave some time off that process has got to be a good thing. So overall, any more improvements? I couldn't really think of any. I mean, I said the process was so easy and straightforward. At no point did it kind of feel like a hindrance, which is obviously a good thing. And we sort of got stuck right into it. Very straightforward to use. I mean, it says something when the manual is only a few pages long. It only needs to have a few pages because it is so intuitive to use. But yeah, check it out for yourself. kegking.com.au for their full range of products. It's been a pleasure to review this. A super unit, and we hope you can check it out soon. So thanks very much for watching.